It's like information overload sometimes with the news now. We can see too much at once, too many things that get in our head, and then we're so stressed and worried. It's like out of our design. We're not meant to know all this stuff at one time. What we all should be doing, no matter what side we're on. Ready?
Easy.
It's easy. It's simple. What's going on, bro? Welcome to the Man of God pod. My name is Camden, and iron sharpens iron, so we're here pushing each other to become men of God together. That's what we do on this channel, and I've been away for a little bit because I've been working on something really special we'll get into in a second. But first of all, I wanted to bring up what is going on with the world, what we should be doing about it. Just one quick, easy thing that we can all do no matter what our views are with Iran, Israel, United States, Russia, Ukraine, all of this stuff going on, the wars, the attacks, the dangers. What can we be doing, and what should we be doing as men of God and as Christians, as believers in Jesus? Because before anything else, I got my own political beliefs, got my own values, but before anything else, I'm a believer in Jesus, and I put his word and what he says about me and the world first, and then everything can follow. Then I can start to make my own judgments, but it's got to start with Jesus and what he said in the beginning, and I got to involve him with everything in my life. So I encourage you guys to do that as well. But before we get into that, let me talk about this real quick. I've been away for a little while because I've been working on a book. It's just newly released now, Fearless Masculinity with Toxic crossed out, because the world will call you toxic for wanting to be masculine, to be a man. And I wrote this to say, no, God actually calls you fearless when the world calls you toxic. You're not toxic for being a man. There's no such thing as toxic masculinity, because to be masculine means to provide and protect your family. There's no way to be toxic if you are masculine. And that's why God is calling men to be fearless leaders, strong, courageous protectors, providers, and leaders of their family. And it's basically a roadmap to discovering who God really made you to be as a man. So if you're interested in that, it's just now come out, really new, camdenbeddinghouse.square.site, or you can click the link in the description and get your copy now. All right, let's get into it real quick. So, Iran, Israel, attacks going on. Israel did a sneak attack on Iran. Iran responded. The United States just got involved and also got into it with bombing these nuclear sites with these bombs that can penetrate down into the ground where they actually store the stuff. And this is not a news channel. This is just world events that are going on. And I want to talk about what we should be thinking about as Christians when we discuss these things. Because like I said, I got politics. I got my views. But first, Jesus and the Word of God. Put God first. Everything will follow. And all I want to say, I'm not going to get into my stances on it. I want to say what you should do right now and what I should do right now. What should we do? You can get overwhelmed. You can get worried. You can get, it's like information overload sometimes with the news now. We can see too much at once, too many things that get in our head, and then we're so stressed and worried that it's like out of our design. We're not meant to know all this stuff at one time, and it can actually be pretty bad. And so the first thing you need to do is cast your anxieties and your burdens onto Jesus like he tells us to. So if you're worried about this stuff, if you're scared for your safety, if you're scared for the world and World War III and all this stuff, cast your anxieties onto God. He's got a plan. He knows what he's doing. And yeah, that's the first thing. The other thing you need to do, and what I should be doing, what you should be doing, what we all should be doing no matter what side we're on, ready? It's easy, it's simple, is praying for our leaders. So I'm a United States citizen. I live in the U.S. I love it. I'm so proud to be an American, and all the people that fight for my freedom, I'm so grateful for them. And I actually happen to like the president of the United States, but some people don't. And what I'm going to say real quick right here is that no matter what your views are of him, of Donald Trump, President Trump, no matter what your view is of him, if you like him or hate him, we need to be praying for him. We need to be praying for God to guide him. We need to be praying for God to use him in ways that only he can. Because in my opinion, and what I believe, is that God saved Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania for such a time as this. Because in Esther, it talks about this. It talks about how you were born for such a time as this. And I think he is, and he's in the position of leadership at the time. The Bible talks about respecting the authorities, and I would say this with Biden too. No matter who's the president, we need to respect them and pray for them. But I think he was called for such a time as this. I think he was called to protect us, to defend us. And I think that self-defense, and this is just my opinion, is not unbiblical. I think that if someone comes into my house and I shoot them because they're trying to harm my family, I think I did the morally right thing. And so you guys correct me if I'm wrong. That's my belief. And I think that Trump, in a way, did the same thing with the nuclear sites because he saw them as a threat to the people of the United States. And he did what he had to do to protect us as the leader. You can tell me, you can have your own views on that, but we all need to agree as Christians, if we are really men of God that put God first, we should be praying for God to use him, to guide him, and to make peace between all these countries. We need to pray for the leaders of all of them to make peace, because it says, blessed are the peacemakers. And we need to be praying for God to intervene, to be involved, and to use these leaders, even if they're not perfect. Because if you look at the Bible, it's filled with imperfect leaders that God used for his purpose. And I think he can do the same thing with Trump. He can do the same thing with Iran. He can do the same thing with Netanyahu and Israel. And yeah, he can do things we can't even imagine. And one person we need to pray for as well, not one person, but one group of people, is the people of Iran. Because even if the leadership is evil, the people there are not all evil. There could be Christians there. There could be people that are good people in that country, and we need to be praying for their protection, and we need to be praying for their belief in Jesus to just reveal himself to them, and pray for their safety, because they probably genuinely like what's going on, because they are fighting for their freedom to get out of that regime and to make a way for themselves. And so let's be praying for them, and let's be praying for the leaders that are leading this issue, because we are in a kind of scary time with World War III not too far out of the picture, not too far-fetched, but with God, anything is possible, and peace is possible. And Trump even said at the end of his speech, God bless America, God bless Israel, God help us. He said that, and I think that this nation, America, was founded on the principle that in God we trust. And we need to get back to that. We've gotten too far away from that in our current society, current culture, gotten too far away from in God we trust. Well, let me ask you listening, if you're a man of God, if you're whoever you are listening, is it really in God you trust right now? When you see all these events taking place, is it really in God you trust? I challenge you to think about that in your own life and say, am I really trusting God even in the midst of my anxiety, of my fear, and of the unknown? Because that's what faith is. You're a man. Become a man of God by putting God first. That's the first step. And really, we need to be putting our trust in him over anything, over any view in politics, over any certain belief. The belief in God is the one most important one. The belief in Jesus is the most important decision you can ever make. So in the midst of all this, I pray for these leaders. I pray for God to use them, and I encourage you to pray for them as well. And that's what I think we should be doing right now as Christians. Let me know what you think about that, and click that subscribe button if you want to become a man of God and grow in this journey with me. And the link for that book is also in the description. So hope you guys have a great day. Don't get too worried. Put those anxieties onto Jesus. Keep living day by day, and pray for our leaders. See you guys next time. Peace.